Hello music fans, you're watching the Death by Unicorn channel, and this is my segment What's New 2023, where I talk about new releases in metal, rock, and prog and give my first impressions on them. Today I'm going to talk about 3 albums that came out on December 8th, 2023, and I'll talk about them in my order of preference, starting with Moon Safari and their album Himlabacken Volume 2. This is progressive rock. It's the 5th album by this Swedish band. The first song on here, 198X or like 1980X, subtitled Heaven Hill. It has a very 80s feel, so the name of the song is very appropriate. And then Between the Devil and Me comes in. It's a great song. It also has a bit of 80s in there, but it's more of a prog long form song, like about 10 minutes. The album also features an amazing prog epic, one of the best epics of the year, called Teen Angel Meets the Apocalypse. That song even goes into some more metal territory and has some moments that sound like Dream Theater even. Most of the album is very catchy and accessible progressive rock with a lot of pop influences, a lot of great vocal harmonies. I think it's kind of accessible prog rock music that you can play around people that aren't really necessarily into prog rock. It's just really well done, well composed, well performed, catchy music. And I look forward to listening to it even more. I've only listened to it twice so far, but I really enjoy it. Next up is the Chronicles of Father Robin and their album, The Songs and Tales of Airoea. I'm not sure how to pronounce that word. It's Airoea. And this is book 2, called Ocean Traveler Metamorphisis. They released book 1 of this project earlier this year digitally, and I think they've released book 1, 2, and 3 all together as a big physical release on vinyl, but that one's a little bit too expensive to me, so I've only heard the ones that have been released digitally. This is also progressive rock, and it's the second album by this Norwegian band if you count book 1 as a separate album. This might be a bit better than book 1 for me. This is prog that sounds like it could have come out in the 70s. If you're a fan of Wobbler, and yes, you'll like this, there are some members on this from Wobbler. It's kind of a super group and features some members from other bands. I've forgotten the name of all the other bands, but there's some well-known Norwegian prog rock bands, some of whom I've checked out, but I don't know if I've heard all of the bands that make up the members of this group. But I'm interested in checking them all out. This is a really well done Norwegian retro sounding prog album. It's very like soft and a lot of acoustic instruments, but also lots of cool keyboards and digital stuff too. Lastly, I want to talk about Atreyu and their album The Beautiful Dark of Life. This is metalcore. It's the 9th album by this American band. I used to like them a lot back in their between like their second album to their 4th album, The Curse, Death Grips on Yesterdays, I think it's called, and then Lead Sails and a Paper Anchor. Those are the 3 that I love the most by Atreyu. So I was a fan back then. They've been a bit hit or miss since. I almost completely forgot this album was coming out. If I didn't see another YouTuber review it, I probably would have missed it and just ignored it. This album is also a bit hit or miss. Some songs like Watch Me Burn and God/Devil are catchy and decent, but other songs like Capital F are just cringeworthy. Also, this album is made up of 3 EPs that they've released earlier in the year. I listened to 2 of the EPs already, but they basically released 3 EPs and then they combined them together to make the album. There might be like a couple other songs too that weren't on the EPs. But I do feel this album as a whole is a step up from their last 2 full-length albums, which I was pretty disappointed in. But it's not as good as what I consider their great period, which spans from their second album, The Curse, to maybe their 5th album, Lead Sails and Paper Anchor, or their fourth album, Lead Sails and Paper Anchors, but I kind of like their fifth and sixth album too, Congregation of the Damned and Long Live. I was still okay with those. It was really after Long Live that I didn't care for what they were doing anymore. And that's it for my first impressions on these 3 new albums that came out on December 8th, 2023. Let me know what you think of these albums down below in the comments. Was there anything else that came out recently in metal, rock, and prog that you think I'll enjoy? Also let me know. And stay tuned for future videos. Until then, peace out.